This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Indian concerns on maritime security challenges in Red Sea. The participants are Vice Admiral Satish Soni, defense expert, and Arjun Chaudhary, anchor.
I'm joined by Vice Admiral Satish Soni ji, who is a defense expert, and today's topic on discussion is on the Indian concerns on maritime security challenges in the Red Sea. So let's begin by understanding from our defense expert about what the challenges are on the Red Sea, where you have shipping vessels plying that route carrying essential goods and commodities for import and export purposes. It has an impact on the economics of a nation, and vital goods are required for its continuance. Sir, could you tell us exactly what's happening on the Red Sea, which is a cause of concern for nations globally, including India? What is actually happening on the Red Sea?
You see, first of all, it is very important to understand the importance of Red Sea and understanding the geography and how it is impacting the maritime trade. Now, Red Sea has a very narrow strait called Bab el Mandab, and Bab el Mandab in Arab actually means gateway of tears. It's a very narrow strait which is just 17 miles in width, and it connects Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden. Gulf of Aden is towards the Indian Ocean or the Northwest Arabian Sea. All vessels which have to go to Europe or North Africa or onwards to the US, they have to transit from the Indian Ocean to the Gulf of Aden to Red Sea through this narrow strait Bab el Mandab, and through the Suez Canal onto the Mediterranean, and then to their destinations in Europe, North Africa, or the US. So therein lies the importance of Bab el Mandab. Because if that Bab el Mandab is such a narrow choke point is blocked or controlled by inimical forces, then the trade can be stopped. Now, flanking Bab el Mandab, this narrow strait, is the state of Yemen on one side and the state of Eritrea and Djibouti on the other side. Now, Yemen is a failed state. The government of Yemen has been in a state of war, a civil war with Houthis, which are claimed to be controlled or Iranian-backed. Now, when the Israel and Hamas war started in October, and it has been now 3 months it has been on. At that time, slowly the Houthis who support the Palestinian cause, they came up to the forefront and they said that please stop the war or have a Palestinian state. And they said that they are against Israel and they will target ships which belong to Israel and ships which are going to Israeli ports or trading with Israel. That is how it started. And on December 15, they targeted the first ship, which had some way of connection with Israel. Now, merchant ships typically don't affect just one state. The owner of a merchant ship could be in one country. The merchant ship could be flagged in another country. The merchant ship, is crewed by crews from all over the world. And here comes in the importance of India, because India contributes nearly 10% of the seafaring community. So any merchant ship which is going anywhere is most likely to either an Indian or Filipinos, because Filipinos also are seafarers and they also contribute a lot to the seafaring community. Now, this is the December 1st, we first saw the incident, and after that, the incidents have been only increasing. These ships are being attacked by unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned surface vehicles, and then the US Navy took upon itself to make sure that these ships are given some protection. So they deployed their ships. The Royal Navy, UK Navy deployed their ship. The French deployed their ships in the Gulf of Aden, and they started attacking the ships. The US a few days back sank three of Houthis' boats. But essentially, initially for 15-20 days at least, or maybe more, the US has been in a defensive mode. They are not attacking the mainland, or they were not attacking the Yemen territory. They were only defending themselves and sinking boats or the unmanned aerial vehicles or surface vehicles which were coming at them, or the merchant ships. But today, for the first time, they have carried out attacks, aircraft taking out from Cyprus and aircraft taking over off from the US aircraft carriers. They have attacked the Houthi bases in Yemen. So the war or the situation has suddenly escalated. So this is the answer to your first question as to what is actually happening in Red Sea.
What is the nature of the alliance of the Indian Navy with Quad so that our merchant shipping vessels are protected and the problems that you have spoken about, the escalation of it is contained in a proper manner?
So the Indian Navy has been contributing their bit. Indian Navy routinely has one or two ships in the North Arabian Sea on a mission deployment, and they are to cater for these kind of contingencies. In this particular case, few weeks back, we had one of the ships which was heading for an Indian port, and just 200 miles off our coast, it was attacked by unmanned aerial vehicle, and there was minor damage, but it was contained. And then the Indian Navy, in trying to provide security to the areas in the North Arabian Sea and in the Northwest Arabian Sea, they have deployed up to 6 or 7 big ships. And these ships are patrolling those areas, and they are trying to maintain security so that our merchant marine can transit the sea lines of communication. A few days, I think a week, 10 days back, one of the ships was hijacked, one of the merchant ships, and INS Chennai responded to that call, and with Marine commandos on board, with the P-8I aircraft in the air, and the Sea Guardian UAVs providing them locations of this, the real-time locations of the merchant ship. They, within 24 hours, they were able to stop the vessel. Marine commandos boarded the ship, and they rescued 21 crew, all of which were Indian. And then they let the vessel free. So the Indians have been contributing. Indians are not a part right now of the Operation Prosperity Guardian, which the US is heading in the Red Sea. So the Indians are not in the Red Sea, but Indians are in the Indian Ocean region, Indian Navy, and Singapore Navy, Danish Navy, they are going to join the Operation Guardian. And there are other countries like Australia, Japan, etc., which are providing other material help by way of manpower, etc.
So the tactical operations in the Indian Ocean, which is leading up to the Red Sea, we are assuming that these are preventive measures taken by the Indian Navy and the commandos on board protecting the merchant ships. Apart from military operations and escorting merchant ships, what kind of diplomatic efforts are also being carried out?
Well, our External Affairs Minister has spoken to Mr. Blinken of the US, and he has been there having consultations between the countries of the region, especially those countries who can influence the maritime space. And the efforts would be ranging from affecting the war, or someone speaking to the Houthis, or, making sure that the operations by all the navies is coordinated. And also there are some efforts which are made to make sure that the difficulties being experienced with the merchant marine alleviated. Now, as you would be aware, that the rates, the freightage of containers has nearly doubled or tripled for the freightage which is going to Europe and North Africa, and it is up to 60% up for goods which are going to North America, and 65%, as has been reported by some of the traders, of the ships have been diverted to been rerouted to take the longer route of around the Cape of Good Hope, thereby avoiding the Red Sea.
Sir, what are the implications in terms of time and cost? You said rerouting of the navigation routes to less risky areas so that the goods and commodities reach their port of destination. What's the impact on cost and what's a likely impact on cost of essential commodities like oil?
We have 106 billion USD export from North Africa and Europe, and we have a 98 billion USD import from these areas. 50% of this apparently sails through the Suez Canal. And then, of course, we have the trade which is going onwards to the US. By some calculations, the effect on our trade would be up to 30 billion US dollars. Normally, the rates have they say 20-foot equivalent unit, TEU. This is a measure of volume. So they say that the rates have already surpassed 2,500 USD per TEU for the merchant marine. So and some of these goods which have to go, if they have to be exported and imported at such high cost, the traders may not be even wanting to do that. So, but they have these goods. Can they be diverted elsewhere? Not always, because the requirements of Europe and North Africa are different from the requirement which would be there in the other countries. Take, for example, Europe. Europe at this time of the year would need warm clothes. Woolen textiles would be exported to Europe, and that is not something which you can export to alternate destinations, that is Southeast Asia. Similarly, there are agricultural products, spices, which are going to Europe, which may not be required by Southeast Asian countries. So this is the problem which the traders are facing. Not only us. So far, apparently, already about 330 vessels worldwide have been affected, and about 225 billion USD trade, has been affected already in these since December 15th.
So if we look at the structure of the shipping vessels is clearly a different risk profile for cargo ships and oil tankers. So how is the deployment different when it comes to protecting the onward journey of these shipping vessels by the Indian Navy and its allies?
So there are essentially two ways of giving protection. One is that you escort these ships. So you escort these ships, but to provide warship escort to one or two ships in a convoy is very difficult. You need a lot of warships for that. The other way is to provide a flanking support. That means if you have 4 or 5 warships which are sanitizing the area in a given area of responsibility in such a manner that a safe corridor is provided on the other end. So that is the other way. So this depends much on the availability and the nature of threat, which the local commanders would decide, and in coordination between the naval ships of other countries. So you have the UK, the Denmark, Danish ship, French ship, Royal Naval ship from Britain. They are in Red Sea. Indian ships are here. You have so many other warships which are joining in. And there would be, that's why you have a task force. There's a task force 153, which is deployed in Red Sea. And the task force commander's responsibility is to coordinate the actions so that maritime security can be provided to the merchant ships which are transiting that area.
Well, Vice Admiral Satish Soniji, thank you so much for giving us your expertise view on what are concerns of India on maritime security challenges in the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean as well. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Most welcome. Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Indian concerns on maritime security challenges in Red Sea. The participants were Vice Admiral Satish Soni, Defence Expert, and Arjun Chaudhary, Anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsttalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928 909 4044.